Welcome to Crypto, my God. It's Bitcoin all-time high territory. Pretty exciting times. Anything can happen. Major moves are going on. Mergers and acquisitions, financial regulation, compliance upgrades, the whole shebang. Let's get into it. First and foremost, we got this goddamn genius bill passed. It's about time. So it did go to the floor of the Senate on 8 p.m. Eastern time yesterday, and we can see that the Senate advances the stablecoin bill, clearing the way for the final passage. This took 60 senators, and they got it done. Let's go, LFG. Time to move on. And with that, we get one of our favorite new Elizabeth Warren memes, which is salty on the Senate floor. Can't really knock it. She's been putting a major nail in our boot for the past many years. So happy to say those efforts are over. We can move on. We can innovate. Let's see how this plays out. Next, we've got a consistent flow of good news from crypto mom Hester Peirce, who's adding more clarity around NFTs and really everything that went down last cycle. So there was a show called Stoner Cats. It was by Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. It was a community-owned cartoon, very experimental, very fun. The NFTs could be bought and sold as pieces of art. And if the cartoon did well, it was looking to share some revenues. This was taken as a violation of securities laws by the then SEC under Chair Gensler, and it resulted in the show just getting completely killed. It was a bit of a bummer, to be honest with you. But what is good here is that she's adding some clarity around NFT with creator royalties. And this is so important because the way an NFT works is someone makes it and then they sell it. And one of the original great ideas was that if that second person sold it to a third person, 10% of that sale would go back to the creator, and so on and so forth. This was a way for someone to come up with something great and earn themselves revenue in perpetuity with its success. And that is exactly what she's pushing on here. Now, it's arguable, but I could say that the end of creator royalties was really the final nail in the coffin that made it not worth the effort to launch an NFT series. And frankly speaking, it's one of the more fun things that crypto's come up with. The fact that you could start with a novel art project and scale that into a wide brand. And maybe this didn't need to happen all as an initial plan, right? You could start with an NFT mint. If that picks up steam, maybe you get more resources. Maybe they're trading them more often. The creator has a bigger buffer or treasury to step their game up. Anyways, this is very exciting news, and as always, we will take clarity where we can get it. But what I want to talk about today came from Paradigm Ventures, an awesome firm out of San Francisco, and their research department by Dave White. He talks about multiverse finance and is really getting into the idea of if we do digitize all this, if we've made it compute-based, like why not get kind of kinky with it? And he's talking about multiverse finance, basically thinking about predictions markets and the wild success of Polymarket, where the success is actually in that you can make bets on the future. Now, that future doesn't come up for a while, right? That's just a lot of time where nothing's really happening. And we can keep minting new tokens and making trades off the tokens. What's important in a blockchain environment is what is settled on chain. It's basically the truth backbone of the internet and how we look at these being technology of consistency for the digital world. Now, Dave is going on to say, hey, let's actually place that bet. Will one nominee or the other win the election? If you believe yes, and this is going to happen a month from now, that leaves you a month where that value is sitting stagnant. And the idea with the blockchain, with the digitization, with the removal of friction is that all of this value really keeps flowing. The velocity of money is set to the tune of the speed of data, the internet. So we look at this proposal thinking that each of these worlds in a prediction market is what he calls a verse or a stem of the tree. The seed of that tree has to be your initial collateral, has to be the $100 that you put up at risk for this bet. If you then bet on the winning verse and you make subsequent bets, trades, gambles, it's hard to tell what we come up with at that point, and they actually win, then boom, it gets written to the final state of the chain and everything thereafter becomes the real outcome. However, should your nominee lose, well, boom, your collateral disappears and everything that followed was just imaginary. So not only do you lose your money, but you lose your time. Now, this is really fun. It's basically saying, why not make mechanics that allow you to trade past settlement, right? The concept of a prediction market is that it maintains an open market unsettled, finally settling when a certain criteria is met. This kind of opens the mind to other builders to say, hey, we can trade in these imaginary environments with the assumption that at some point they do collapse to reality, get settled on chain in the specific event of blockchain, and that makes a payout event or something to that effect. I thought this was really fun. It was extremely novel, kind of brings me back to like the ICO days when it was about distributing value to just other people on the internet. And this is a call out to builders of the space, to users, to kind of unlock their brain to say, hey, of course you could never do this in traditional finance. If you wanted to give a bookie a bet, he's got to hold that money because he needs to put it back out. Now, if we give it to a smart contract, it can mint a receipt. It can follow that receipt in an automatically executable chain when that finalizes on chain. I'm going to say chain so many times, I guess. But to me, this is just one of the most exciting novel concepts that's come out in a while. It's an easy read if you want to dive in. I've got it in my resources, and shout out to Dave White because this is very fun. And I do think this is a philosophical primitive in a lot of the applications that we can build moving forward. To say, hey guys, we can actually step away from like pure reality. We can begin to imagine and we can play those games only to have them settle when something actually happens in reality or is written to a block. So with that being said, we're in a bull market. I hope it's really fun for you. I hope that builders do take ideas like this and expand on the games and the sort of markets that we can play. Like, it's all getting nuts, and we do need a mental shift in order to unlock some of those really crazy and exciting possibilities. With that being said, stay safe out there. Don't overlever, you get taken out of the game. The goal is to keep playing, and